Hello students, welcome to Classroom TV. I hope you are doing good, staying safe during this COVID times and going through each and every content on Classroom TV. So let's start our class with our discussion. As you know, it's favorite your food. So as in your earlier classes, as you'll be learning it, like food is must and should required for our body for survival and even for energy. Because we get the energy from the food which we take and the food which we consume. So that's why it is most important what is as an essential factor which is must and should required for surviving. Yes. So as we know, like how air is important for breathing, as water is also essential for drinking purpose, in the same way food is also as much as important, or you can say that is one of the essential commodity, or it's an essential requirement, or it's an essential what is the important necessity for our life to go on. So without food we won't get energy. If you don't get energy, we are not surviving it, and we cannot able to do any sort of activities or whatever we feel to have it. So in our today's class we are going to discuss our chapter called food components, which we call as food components. So what do you mean by this food components? Because you know, like there are different food items which you like, or which will be what you say, like you feel it very delicious, or you may find like some of those foods which may be your favorite dishes, like which you want to have it always, or you prefer to have only idli, or if you prefer to have only dosha, or if you prefer to have only chapati, the rice, the eggs, the meat, the chicken. So there are different food items which you like it. So here in this class, we are in this chapter, you are going to learn like what these food components contain. Means as we are saying that the food which you are taking is giving us energy. In turn, we are getting the energy when you are trying to take this food. So what sort of energy you are able to get it? Means how to know that the energy whichever you are getting by eating those foods consists of what? What are the components? Components in the sense like what does it contain? What are those substances which are present or which are responsible for this to give energy to our body, for which we are getting energy to our body. So that all we are going to discuss in our chapter, and let's see like what do different food items contain. So as we take different food items, as I said, like rice, we take chicken, the different food items. So what does they exactly contain, or what kind of components are present in that food which gives us the energy in one or the other form, and which sort of foods we need to have it for sure, so that our body gets enough amount of energy, and we can say strong and well enough, and should be well enough, and we will be staying safe, fit and healthy also. So this is all most important to us, because we stay fit, healthy and safe, along with this all the commodity, the components of food which we are eating here. So let's start our chapter. So as you can find, the first thing which we are going to learn, what are the essential components of food. So what are those essential components of food, which are required, which are necessary? Essential, as you know, like the other word which you can say for this essential is necessary. What are those necessary components or essential components of food which are must and should required for our body, the food which we take here? Yes. So let's see that. So as you know, our food consists of, means what are the components you are going to find in the food which you are eating here? The food consists of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals. So these are some of those major components, or you can say that these are the essential components of food which are required and must for our body. Yes, what are those important essential components of food? You can find the food consists of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals. So these are the the major composition of a food which we need to take every day in order to get enough amount of energy and to be fit and strong. That's one. So and beside this, even water and fibers are also present. So not only just that, means as we know the major percentage, or these are the major essential components, necessary components of food which we has learned, like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals. Along with that, even you can find that water and fibers are also required for our body. As we say, no, water is essential for our body. Without water we can't survive, even without air we can't survive. So for that's the reason water and fibers are also present along with it. Let's see. So these are the essential components of food, and we call them as nutrients. So what we call those now? We call these all essential components the necessary components of our food which we take are called as nutrients. So our body require nutrients. Sufficient amount of nutrients are required for our body. So when our body goes with when it involves with lot of physical activities, when you are going for different sort of work, whenever you do, you require energy, and that energy we get it from the food which we take, and that food should contain these nutrients. So what are the nutrients we discussed here? So that is most important factor which you need to consider here. Yes, that's most important factor. So for that's the reason the components present in the food substances can be tested easily with some simple experiments. So now as we said that the food which you are taking should consist of carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins and fats and all. Then how to confirm it? The food which you are taking every day, yes, surely it consists of carbohydrates or those proteins or those fats which are must and should for our body, which we call as nutrients. So let's examine or let's try to find out the presence of these nutrients in our food items by going with some simple experiments. Let's find. So when you start the confirmation, so confirmation of presence of food components. So as we need to confirm it now, we need to test the presence of carbohydrates, test the presence of proteins or fats, whatever we say these are the essential components or which we are calling as necessary components of food. So we need to test them now. So then only we can say yes, the food which you are eating or whichever we are having consists of these necessary or essential components which are must for our body, which gives us energy. Yes. So let's start with that. So collect different types of food materials like milk or potato, little quantity of oil or ghee, because you know like oil and ghee is rich in fats. Yes, if you go for milk, potato, one or the other form of carbohydrates, protein, so you take all the such food items which approximately which you may just have an idea that yes, this food consists of contains some carbohydrates, this food contains proteins, this food contains some fats. So in that way you need to collect some samples of those food samples or items and try to test them according to the instructions. Now we need to follow some procedure, the method which you are going to go for that to find the confirmation, to find the presence of, identify the presence of these essential components of food in the nutrients which you are taking are found to be those or no, that we have to find here. So that's the reason for this. You will need to test tubes, stands, plates, droppers. So you take some required materials like as mentioned. Yes. After that, so even you need some of the chemicals also as given in each section of testing. So we need to go with some sort of chemicals also here. Yes, those we need to take, and even the required materials like plate, droppers, because the chemicals cannot be handled with hand. You cannot use your naked hand. You need to go with a dropper and all to hold such chemicals. So these all simple materials which you need to take here, and take a sample of each food item in a test tube or a plate and prepare the chemicals needed. Then you start testing the samples with them. So first you prepare, make all the necessary arrangements and follow all the precaution steps. As you know, like once when you go for any such activities or any such experiments and all, we need to go for some precautions as we know it. So you need to follow those precautions and go for it. So prepare the solutions as per the instructions given, and then you start testing the samples which the food items, in the form of food items which you have taken one by one, to know the presence of those items, the food items which you have taken for confirmation. Yes, you have to do for the confirmation here. So note down your observations in your notebook. So let's start with first one, test for starch. So actually starch is nothing but here this alternative we are trying to find the carbohydrates. We are trying to confirm the presence of carbohydrates present in food. Yes, so because we are trying to go for the confirmation test and trying to find this the components of this or the commodities which you are saying, the essential components of the food which are must and should, to test the presence of them in the food which you are taking. For that's the reason we are going for confirmation here. So the first one, test for starch. Starch is nothing but it's another form of, means it's carbohydrates, means we know like the major composition or the major component of food consists of carbohydrates. So the carbohydrates can be tested in other form of that we call as starch here. So, we need to go for confirmation test for starch, that is nothing but for the confirmation test of carbohydrate. So, let us do that and find it, children. So, you can find a set of group or children like you, they have started testing it. So, you can find what is this here, it is iodine solution. We need to take iodine solution, and you can see potatoes. As you know, potatoes are rich in carbohydrates. So, they have taken the potatoes as a food sample or a food item for testing the conformation of starch or the carbohydrates. So, take some iodine solution. So, first how you need to prepare this iodine solution, let us see. They are using a dropper, as you can see here. A dropper is used to try to confirm it, and you can find that iodine solution which turns into what color or what change it gives, so that we are trying to confirm that it is a carbohydrate or it is only a starch which is present in that food item which you have taken for confirmation. Let us see. So, you should prepare the dilute iodine solution. Dilution, it is nothing but like when you are going to add some required quantity of water, you can find it is given here, dilute with water. So, add some water to this solution so that it becomes diluted. So, you are going to prepare dilute iodine solution and take a test tube or a cup and add few drops of iodine crystals. Yes, you need to take a test tube, and in that you need to dilute it, take some amount of water, and along with that take few drops of this iodine solution and make it diluted. And once this diluted iodine solution is prepared now, as you can see in this bottle, that is called a dilute iodine solution. So, once the solution is prepared till it becomes light yellow or brown in color. So, you dilute the solution, you add the water up to that extent that the solution turns into this color. It should be light yellow brown color. And once it has been found, means once the color changes to light yellow brown color, light yellow or brown color, then take a sample of food item in the test tube. Yes, you need to take it and add few drops of dilute iodine solution to the sample. So, once you start, once you have prepared the dilute iodine solution, the diluted iodine solution by adding some drops of as per required amount of water, you take it and you make a dilute solution. And once the dilute solution is prepared, dilute iodine solution is prepared, then you need to add the few drops of this iodine solution to the food sample whichever you have taken here. So, in this case you can find it's potatoes. So, once you start adding 1 or 2 3 drops of iodine solution, the drops of dilute iodine solution, you can see that there is a change in color. So, what change you are going to find, children? If the substance turns dark blue color, can you see here it is given, it's if the substance turns dark blue or black, it contains starch. So, you can find it, you can see a spot here, can you see a dark blue spot. So, a dark blue spot confirms the test for starch, means the presence of starch or the carbohydrates in that particular specific food item which you have taken here. So, if you find that the iodine solution, the dilute iodine solution, whichever you are adding to the food sample, if it turns into dark blue or black color, it gives us the confirmation that it contains carbohydrates or starch in that particular food item. So, this is how like the first major component of our food which contains carbohydrates or starch can be confirmed by this test here. Yes, let us go for the next test now. The next test we are trying to confirm the test for fats. So, as we said, oil and ghee. So, mostly because whenever the food is cooked or prepared, we need to go for the quantity of oil or ghee which is required for cooking. So, here just it is a simple test here, just you take any such cooked oil food or ghee food and try to go for confirmation. Let us see like how you are going to do here. Take some small quantity of food item, whichever food item, as we know like each and every food item of part is requires oil or ghee. Without it we can't do it, we can't prepare it and do it, isn't it? So, you take that quantity and just wrap it in a piece of paper and crush it. I think I give you a this example, children, like you know like the South Indian tiffins, like we say vada, which in the common language. So, suppose now you know that vada is deeply fried in oil. So, you take one piece of food item, one piece of vada which is fried in oil, and try to take it and soak it, try to crush it and try to wrap it in a piece of paper and just press it, you will find there's a lot of amount of oil or the ghee, whichever you find, gets sticks to the paper, which gives us a confirmation that each and every quantity of food contains the fat or the oils, which are also components of our food which we take here. Means those are the form of fats. They are giving us a confirmation that it's presence of fat which gives us this gives us the form of it. So that's one. So you have to take care that the paper does not get stayed up here. You should not tear it. Just you need to press it and hold it, no. And then try to straighten the paper after removing the food item which you have wrapped it or you have been trying to crush it. And once done, if it's done, then you find any oily patch. Yes, we find a oily patch on a paper. Yes, that confirmation means if you find there's an oily patch found on a paper, it gives us a clear information that the food material whichever you have taken contains fats in them, and that's must and it's important for the important component of our food which we are taking here. That's one. So hold the paper against the light, and are you able to see light faintly through this patch? Now let's hold that paper, the paper which has a oily patch, and just you try to hold this paper again to faint just towards parallel towards your light rays. So you can find that the presence of the oily paper acts like a translucent substance. You know it, children, like so that oily paper acts as translucent in the sense the substance which is not seen so clearly, somewhat it's seen clearly. So what do you mean by translucent here? Substance or the objects, the substances or objects are seen somewhat clearly, not totally clearly, are seen somewhat clearly. Yes, if it's seen so clearly, then we say those are transparent substances, but these are translucent. So this oily paper, which means which we says with the paper which has an oily patch, which we call as an oily paper, which gives us a confirmation of fat. The food item contains fats in it, and that paper, if you are trying to pass a ray of light to it, you can find it's not going to be seen very clearly. It will be acting like a translucent type of paper where the objects are not seen so clearly. Then an oily patch on paper shows that the food item whichever you have taken for confirmation contains fat in it. Yes, so that oily patch whichever you have taken on the paper shows the confirmation or shows that the food item contains fat in it. Is it, children? I think you have getting it. So you can just do it. This is a simple activity here. We does not require any such of chemicals like we took in the case of carbohydrates. To test the presence of starch, we took iodine solution, but here we does not require any such chemicals and all. Just you need a piece of paper and try to take any such food material and try to just wrap it and try to see that in the oil patch, if it's an oily patch, gives you a confirmation that that particular food item contains fat in it. Okay, children. So yes, that's one of the test for fats. Then here the food items may sometimes contain a little water also. Yes, we get some watery substance. So therefore what you do after you rub the item on the paper, let the paper dry for a while, because sometimes you may not be able to give the exact or correct confirmation that this piece of paper contains water or either it contains oil. We are not knowing it. So just let it dry, because you know water gets dried when you are just exposed to the sunlight or kept for some time. Oil doesn't do so. Oil does not get goes with that. So for that's the reason here what you need to do, confirmly you need to go for that confirmation, means you are trying to go with this alternative for that and see that this oily paper is going to give you that. So if there were any water that may have come from food, it would dry up after some time, and if no oily patch shows up after this, the food item does not contain any fat here. So what is the confirmation you are trying to give here? If there is any water, it may will get come up from the food and gets dried up after some time. If any oily patch shows after this, then it's finally confirming us that the food items, if you find the oily patch, then you can say. If you are not going to find any such oils in such a lot of food, oily item in that, then you can say that it's been fat or it's the food is without fat also. So both the ways you can confirm it. The next comes the other test for proteins. Next is the test for proteins. First we have done the test for starch, test for fats, the next for test for proteins, because these are all those essential components of our food which you are taking. We are trying to confirm them. Are they real? Are these all food items contain this nutrients, the essential components of food which you are calling nutrients here, and which are must for our body to get energy. So let us see again the activity for this also. Now here we need to go with some sort of chemicals. As you can see, it's given clearly, it's shown here. We need to use copper sulfate. The formula you will be learning it, children. It is actually CuSO4 is copper sulfate solution. It's copper sulfate formula. Actually this is blue in color. We find copper sulfate in blue in color, and you need to take caustic soda also. So both solutions you need to prepare here. Two chemicals which we require. One is copper sulfate solution and the other is caustic soda. Let's see. So preparation of 2% of copper sulfate solution. So from this bottle you need to just use 2% of this, because even this may be in the form of it is in the pure form. So you need to dilute it. You need to add the required amount of water to this solution. So that's the reason you take 2% of copper sulfate solution and 10% of sodium hydroxide. Caustic soda is called as sodium hydroxide here. That's called as NaOH, which you call as NaOH here. Copper sulfate is CuSO4, the formula, and for sodium hydroxide it's NaOH. So first what you are going to do, the 2% of CuSO, that's copper sulfate solution you are going to prepare, and 10% of sodium hydroxide solution you are going to prepare. So to make 2% copper sulfate, what you should do, take 2 grams of this copper sulfate crystals. You will have blue color crystals. Now you need to make it in the form of solution. So take 2 grams of copper sulfate solution in 100 ml of water. You dissolve 2 crystals. Okay, you can find it's 2 grams, in the sense it's almost like approximate some crystals of those 2 grams of copper sulfate crystals. You need to dissolve in 100 ml of water to prepare 2% of copper sulfate solution. In the same way, you need to prepare even 10% of sodium hydroxide solution, NaOH. Even NaOH is present in the form of pellets, that's in the form of tablets which you get here, which you call as tablets here. So those small tablets, approximately some 10 to 15 tablets, you need to take again in a beaker or a container with required amount of water. You try to dissolve it and make the solution called as 10% of sodium hydroxide solution, which you need to dissolve in 10 ml. Here 2 grams of copper sulfate crystals in 100 ml of water gives you 2% of copper sulfate solution. In the same way, 10% of sodium hydroxide solution, when you are dissolving in 10 grams of sodium hydroxide, in 10 grams of sodium hydroxide in 100 ml solution, it gives you 10% of 10% of sodium hydroxide solution. So both the solutions now, 2% of copper sulfate solution, 10% of sodium hydroxide solution. So both the solutions you have to prepare it, and then you have to do what you have to do now. 1 gram of sodium hydroxide is equal to 6 pellets of sodium hydroxide. I said, you know, pellets in nothing but here it's tablets. The small tablets, like children, like we have like chocolates, like how you can find it's round. So in the same way, we will find white sodium hydroxide pellets or tablets. Those you need to dissolve properly in required amount of water and try to prepare the solution like as you prepared in the case of copper sulfate solution. So both the solutions now you need to keep it ready. Both the chemical solutions which are required for our confirmation test for proteins. Yes. So once you have prepared, then if the substance you wish to test can be a solid, so suppose if you want to take a solid proteins, as you know, different types of pulses and grams, those are in form of solid. So you just grind them and take in a form of a paste if you want. Make it in a powder or a paste and take little in the test tube and add 10 drops of water to that powder. Whichever the solid form of proteins, whichever you are trying to test it, you need to grind it, make it in a form of a paste or a powder, and dissolve the required amount of water in it to make it a solution. Then you need to add this 10 drops of water to the powder and stir well. So, you prepared the 2 solutions now. Those 2 solutions need to be added now. So, now what you do now, take 10 drops of the solution in clean test tube and 2 drops of copper solution in solution and 10 drops of sodium hydroxide solution in a test tube. So, all the 3, what all you have taken now, 10 drops of sample, yes, then what you are going to do, 10 drops of sodium hydroxide, ten drops of the sample. What is the sample now? The solid whichever you are willing to test for the confirmation test for proteins. So, that particular sample you have to take here, and that from that the paste or the powder which you have prepared by grinding it, from that you need to take the 10 drops of the solution which we call a sample here, and 10 drops of sodium hydroxide solution which you have prepared, and 2 drops of copper sulfate and 2 drops of copper sulfate solution. So, all these 3 are added in a clean test tube. So, all 3 are mixed together now. What are the 3 now? One is the food sample which you have taken for confirming the test for protein, the food sample, the 10 drops of sodium hydroxide solution and 2 drops of copper sulfate solution. So, all these 3 need to be taken in a test tube and stir it properly. You should shake it or mix it well. Okay, mix well or shake well, and then you try to confirm the change. So, what kind of change you are going to observe with children? You can see there is a change of color to violet or purple color. Okay, there is a change of color to violet or purple which gives the confirmation test for protein. So, this is a confirmation test, that the amount of the sample, the food item or the food sample which you have taken for confirmation gives you the color change. So, the change of color from violet to purple color, if you find any violet color or a purple color, if you find the change in that test tube, then it gives us a confirmation that it contains the food item which you have taken as a sample contains proteins in it. That is also one of the essential component for food which we call as nutrients. So, this is how the 3 samples, the 3 food items, the different food items or the same food items whichever you are trying to test for the confirmation of the essential or necessary components of food in the form of proteins, carbohydrates, starch, fats, you have confirmed it. So, in this way the change with the change in color you can try to make the confirmation, you can know the confirmation. Now, in the same way along with this, as we discussed, that not only these essential components like only carbohydrates, proteins and all are only must and should required for our body, along with that even water, and there are some dietary fibers which we call as roughages are also important for our body, which we take as our regular, it should be also a regular part of our food, that which we need to take it, where we should not avoid it. Let us see those also. So, coming to roughages or dietary fibers. So, what do you mean by roughages or dietary fibers? So, the word itself, like fibers. So, like there are like there are many vegetables and fruits which contains or which are rich in fibers. So, that is the reason it is always advised to have lot of amounts of vegetables and fruits which contains water or which are rich in citrus, which we call as citrus fruits like lemons, oranges and all, which are rich in fibers, and those only which we call as mostly as dietary fibers, and because they are important for our body, because they act as a availability, means they act as the availability of water in our body, mean the percentage of water is balanced, or it's been, which is said as that's the reason it's been maintained equally. That's the reason we say it as roughages or dietary fiber. Diet means it's trying to maintain the balance of the availability, means the amount of that water which is required for our body is done by this process here. So that's why it's for most importantly we need to even take these roughages and dietary fibers are also part of our routine as a food which we take, like in the form of carbohydrates, proteins, or whatever food which you are taking, in that same form you need to even take these dietary fibers also. So let's see that. So there are some components of food that are necessary for our body which we call as roughages or which we call as dietary fibers. They are important along with the food, with the these all you can say that these are also a part of food which you are including here, which we need to include here. So these food also means these are also necessary for our body. That's the reason we call them as roughages or we call them as dietary fibers. So what actually they do? Roughages are also a kind of carbohydrates. They are also a type of carbohydrates. The carbohydrates which we take in because it's regularly required for our body. As we say that it's one of the essential necessary component which acts as a nutrient to our body. In the same way, these dietary fibers or roughages are also a kind of carbohydrates that our body actually, so these are also kind of carbohydrates which our body fails to digest. Yes, so in such cases they help in the free bowel movement in the digestive tract. So what is the main function or the main working of these dietary fibers which you take in your body? Because they help in the free bowel movement in digestive tract, the excreta, the waste excreta which you release it from your body will be easier, means it's the movement, the free flow of movement is possible it's possible due to this roughages or the dietary fibers which you take here, and prevent constipation also. So what do you mean by constipation here? Means constipation is a process where a person should go with at least the minimum 3 bowel movement. Means it should see that it's been excreting the what you say the waste solid excretory waste products are released from our body. It should be moving it freely without any without any damage or any force or like that. So in such cases you can find that when you take this amount of dietary fibers and roughages which can help us in the free flow movement, the free movement, that's bowel movement which you can see. And that's the reason when you take this kind of dietary fibers or roughages which will try to minimize or try to prevent us from constipation also. Yes. Let's see the sources of roughages then, because as we said that these roughages and dietary fibers are as much as important to our body. So even we should know that what are the sources from which what kind of food which we need to eat to get these roughages and dietary fibers in our body, or the amount of carbohydrates which are not digested can help us to get digest in this other way. So that also we should know it here. So you can just by seeing the figure itself, you can see the picture, you can see lot of leafy vegetables. Yes, you can find the leafy vegetables like spinach and all. Yes, then oranges, citrus fruits as I said. Citrus fruits like oranges, lemons, grapes, etc. you can find here in from picture. So as bran, the shredded wheat, apart from these fruits, vegetables also you can find the other seeds, bran, shredded wheat, cereals, fruits and vegetables, sweet and plain potatoes, peas and berries, pumpkins, palak which we call as spinach, this is in common language, spinach, apples, banana, papaya and many kinds of beans are the sources of roughages. So these are all the sources of roughages which you need to take into consideration because these are important for our body. So these are the different sources of roughages. So we must take care to include sufficient fiber foods in our daily diet. So we should be very much aware, and we should be alert and try to maintain the balance of our body by taking the proper amounts of food which are required for our body. So the carbohydrates which are not found to be helpful, in such cases we are going to go for this kind of fibers, dietary fibers or roughages which are rich in these sources. So you need to take this kind of fruits and vegetables which are rich in dietary fibers and sources of this which can prevent you from constipation and other reasons also, other health issues. And generally we have a habit of eating some fruits without peels also. Yes, without peels. We try to remove the outer covering of those. We remove the outer layer. So when you are eating apples, like many times you can find the peels of the outer surfaces of apple is removed. But we can find that many such studies or many in such cases they say like we need to even have those some of those fruits and vegetables along with peels. We need to we should not remove the outer covering of those fruits and vegetables and directly we need to have, because they contain some of these sources which are rich in those. But if you are trying to remove those and you are having it, so we may not able to get the overall the nutrients whichever are required for our body. So that is the reason we need to even take those peels of fruits and vegetables which are required for our body in the form of nutrients, which are must we should take it, which are must we should take it. So for that's the reason. So as we know, like we remove it and we have it actually, right? Isn't it? So many fruits like which we try to remove the peels and have it. So we eat banana without peel. But fruits like apples, grapes, etc. are eaten along with the peels. Yes. So banana definitely there we have to remove the peel and we need to have it. We can't have directly. But like apples and oranges, grapes and apples and all, mostly we eat those fruits with peels. So you should know the difference between those fruits which are eaten with peels and which are not eaten with peels also. Then what you are going to get, see, most of the vegetables are also used along with peels, and sometimes we make some special dishes like chutneys etc. with peels also, because those beans contain some important nutrients which are required for our body. For that's the reason we go for those vegetables, fruits which contains peels also along with that. We use them. And so don't peel or discard outer layers of fruits or vegetables because they are rich in nutrients. As I said, they are rich in nutrients. So you need to have those fruits and vegetables with along with peels without removing the outer layer of those vegetables and fruits. And even peel contains fiber which helps in digestion of food. But nowadays farmers use many pesticides in the fields. Yes, they use many pesticides, many chemicals they are using it. So what you need to do, that they can be dangerous to our health. So you should wash the fruits and vegetables thoroughly with salt water, then you will start using them. Because those means which kind of the vegetables and fruits which are advised to take those vegetables and fruits with peels. So what you need to do before you get it from market and all, because as farmers are going with different types of fertilizers and pesticides, they are using it. So they may be toxic to our body. They contain some chemicals which are not good for our body. So in such cases, you need to wash them thoroughly with salt water. Then you start having them. Then it is safe to eat them along with the peel. So that you can do it here. Then beside these nutrients, as I said, our body needs dietary fibers and water also. Both are required. So dietary fibers, as you know, they are called roughages. Roughages is mainly provided by plant products in our food. So we get from plant products but not from animals, because there are, as you learned from your earlier classes, the food whichever we get from the plants and as well as from animal sources. But roughages or the dietary fibers are mostly available from plant products only. And whole grains and pulses, potatoes, fresh fruits and vegetables are main sources of roughages. Yes, pulses, potatoes and fresh fruits and vegetables are the main sources of roughages, which you should have it. And roughages does not provide any nutrient to our body, but it is only essential component mostly to our food when it adds to bulk, when it fits to get rid of undigested food. So sometimes what happens when we eat the food which is more than required, so that's called as undigested food, means the food which not gets digested properly because you have taken the food more than required, then it leads to indigestion. So to get rid of that indigestion, where the food need to get digested properly, so because of that we need to go for these roughages and dietary fibers which are required for our body as a part of our food, even though they does not provide that much nutrients also. Yes. The next comes water. As you know, as water is also must and should essential for our body, as we discussed. So water is also an essential component needed for our body. We should drink sufficient amount of water. It's must. That's why they say lots of water is required. We should read now and then. You should drink water. You should make your body feel hydrated but not dehydrated. So your body will be hydrated when you drink lots of amounts of water which is required for your body. And most of the fruits and vegetables contain water, as we know. So most vegetables like potatoes, beans, kheera, tomatoes, yes, which we call as cucumber here, which kheera is in common language, cucumber, gourds, fruits like apples, papaya, melons. Yes, I know watermelons where it's rich in water. Many like having watermelon. So at least you have watermelon instead of going for other fruits also. At least if you have that, as it's rich in water, it can help you in hydration of your body. So you can have this kind of fruits which are rich in water, which gives us the enough amount of water to our body. So water is also food, and it also helps the food to move easily in our digestive tract. So it should move freely in our body. Yes, and water helps in many other processes in our body as well. Hence, we must drink plenty amount of water. So you can find here, these are the fruits, vegetables, fruits and vegetables. The fruits and vegetables rich in water, as we require water to our body, and that's the reason you can find in our body as well. So hence we must drink plenty amount of water as much as possible to keep our body hydrated too, which helps in digestion, which helps in the movement, each and every part of our body. So this is also one of the major essential component of our food. Along with those carbohydrates, proteins and all, even we need to take even water. And you can see the other sources also, sources of iodine, which is in the form of salt, because salt is also must we say for our body. So you can find what is the sources of iodine here. You can see ginger, you can see spinach, yes, then you can see fishes, spinach, and these are the different sources of iodine. Then sources for phosphorus, see bananas, you can see banana, milk, etc., and some seeds, cumin seeds and all. So these are also rich sources for phosphorus. Same if you go for some other sources for iron, even iron is required for our body. Then you can find some again vegetables and some of the apples and spinach. You can see spinach, that's leafy vegetable. That's why it's advised to have more and more leafy vegetables, which are good for not only eyes, even for body. You can find the sources in more than 1 or 2, 3 sources. You can find the leafy vegetable, iron, in the case of source of iron also you can find the spinach. In the case of iodine also you can find, yes. Then if you go for sources of calcium, as you know, milk, that's the reason many times it's advised to make a habit of drinking milk. And the eggs, yes, you can find even eggs which are rich in calcium. So these are some of those different sources from which we get the different nutrients which are required for our body by taking the different food items through food, which gives us the energy, and through which we try to do our sort of activities and try to be healthy, strong, and well get rid of the food of this and try to be healthy and strong also. So this is how, children, like in today's class we have discussed the different components of our food, which contains the major essential commodities or components of your food, which contains carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, and even water and the dietary fibers, which are a part of food which we need to take to get the necessary essential nutrients for our body to get energy. So this we have discussed it, children, in today's class. In our next class we are going to discuss the other part of the chapter of these concepts. Till then, go through the content whatever we have discussed, and try to log into our website classroomtv.in for latest videos, material, each and every content you are going to get, and keep watching and enjoy Classroom TV.